Yesterday, on the Buckeye Roundtable on 97.1 The Fan, Ryan Day made an interesting statement about the approach the Buckeyes need to take into their matchup against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish this weekend. What did Ryan Day say? We'll discuss that and a whole lot more today on Locked on Buckeyes.
You are Locked on Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to the episode of Locked on Buckeyes for the Locked on Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Tuesday, August 30th in the year 2022, and I want to thank you for making Locked on Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of every single day. On today's episode, we will discuss players we need to watch on the Buckeyes side of things. These players, if they play well, it means good things for the Buckeyes this weekend. And John Rothstein of CBS Sports tweeted out some good news about justice suing. We'll discuss that later on in today's show. But before we get to any of that, it's the time of the week when Ryan Day is talking. He has a presser on Tuesday. The game week here, first game week presser, is on Tuesday. And a day ago, he was on the Buckeye Roundtable, and he was fielding some questions, going around and around and around, sometimes discussing did the Buckeyes practice inside or outside due to the rain that was coming in, how the Buckeyes have handled the start of class and how the schedule has changed due to that. And there were just different things that you would expect. There was some things that Ryan Day talked about with the Northwestern and Nebraska game. He described the game as, quote, unique, end quote, but thought the quality of the play looked good between both teams in Ireland. Ryan Day just fills in a lot of questions, talked about the young receivers and how they're coming in and filling the shoes of Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. And in this same context, he said, quote, have some confidence, end quote, or they have some confidence in those young players. But towards the end of his time on the Buckeye Roundtable, Ryan Day discussed his thoughts about the excitement from coaches and captains right now with the opportunity that's right in front of them. Ryan Day said, quote, every year is a different opportunity, end quote, which is true. Every year there's a different opportunity for the team, for the players, for the coaches, and you have to kind of attack each year in the way that that year is approaching you. Don't take 2021 like you did in 2015, or don't take 2019 like you did in 2018. Every year is different. Don't take 2022 in the same ways you did with 2021. But Ryan Day goes on to say this, quote, they have the pen to write the story of what it is, end quote. Once again, discussing the things that the players can do with every year being a different opportunity. But his closing remark in all of this, we'll talk about the players, the approach, the excitement about the game, talk about coaches and captains, but a lot of this, I believe, is about the entire team. He says, quote, the opportunity is here. The urgency is going to be here. And we got to seize this moment and take it and run because we're in control, end quote. We've got to seize this moment. That thing sticks out. But even the final part of that quote, we're in control. Think about how bold of a statement that is right there. You're the number 2 team in the country. You're playing the number 5 team in the preseason AP poll. A top 5 matchup in prime time on ABC, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. There were thoughts that this game would be on Fox at 12 noon kickoff, but no, ESPN gave Fox the Purdue and Penn State game, which is going to be a Thursday night game coming up in a couple of days to really get things going in a big way for college football fans like us. But the Buckeyes know, regardless of what network they're playing on or who's calling the game, they have to seize this moment. Because I believe this moment is bigger than just your regular week 1 game. I believe this moment is bigger than just a college football game in the regular season. There are recruiting implications that are going to be held onto this game. I mean, there's word that even Bronny James will be in the stadium for this game. LeBron James will be in the stadium for this game. You may say, Jay, Bronny James, if he comes to Ohio State, doesn't have anything to do with this, but This could be looked at as a recruiting weekend for some basketball players as well that'll be in the shoe for this game. You got to seize this moment because the players on the field, they're not worried about the recruiting. The coaches think about recruiting all the time, but the players, for them, seize the moment. Take advantage of this opportunity. This is only the 7th time Notre Dame and Ohio State have played ever. I believe 7. I believe the Ohio State all-time is 4-2. They haven't played that many times. They recently played in a bowl game, I want to say in 2017. They played in 94 and 95. Notre Dame hasn't won a game against Ohio State since the first 2 times the schools played. I believe one score of the game was 7-2. And so you're thinking about all these things, the history behind all these historic teams. There's a home-and-home series. The Buckeyes go to South Bend to play Notre Dame next year on September 23rd. Seize this moment. Take advantage of this moment. And for decades and decades and decades, those involved on the Ohio State side of things can say, we went into the horseshoe, the 100th year of the stadium, and put the smackdown on the Fighting Irish. You have to seize this moment. Because if you don't seize this moment, if you take this game like it's the Arkansas State game or the Toledo game or an Indiana game or the Purdue game or any other game that's not really big and you say, oh, we're going to go into this just like it's any other day, you won't seize a moment. You will get embarrassed, and people on the worldwide leader, the ESPN, will come back saying, oh, same old Ohio State. They're just not prepared for the moment. The moment's too big for them. Oh, the lights are too bright for them, and they'll be going on and on and on and saying the things you don't want them to say, you don't believe. But it seems like a lot of the things people say about Ohio State, sometimes they creep back up to bite them. We've got to seize the moment. I think Ryan Day has the proper approach to this game. I hope the team has the proper approach to this game. With the proper approach and the proper planning and being the more physical team, winning the battle in the trenches, the Buckeyes have a good shot of beating the Fighting Irish on Saturday night. Guys, to beat the Fighting Irish, some players have to step up. We have to keep our eyes on certain players to see how they play. And if they play well, there's a good chance the Buckeyes will win this game. Who are players to watch? I got 4 of them. 2 on offense, 2 on defense. We'll discuss that next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information. From live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts, they have you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. Big game coming up this weekend. We're talking about it right here all week long. Look at a preview show coming up on Thursday. Look at have our final thoughts and keys to victory on Friday's show. Yeah, I'm excited for this game. And with my excitement building for this game, there are certain players that my eyeballs are fixated on that I am looking to see. How do they perform? What do they do? How do they step into this moment? And do they seize this moment? Because if they take that approach, like Ryan Day said just yesterday on the Buckeye Roundtable, there's a really good shot the Buckeyes come out of this game victorious and have a statement win in week 1 of the 2022 college football season. Before the Buckeyes do have a statement win in this upcoming game, there are players that need to step up, and there are players that we need to watch. Now, these aren't players to watch like, on ESPN, they'll say, oh, well, this guy is so important, we need to watch him, or that guy is so important, more of the stars of the team. The guys that got listed here, they're players to watch for very specific reasons, and you'll understand why once I name them and describe why we need to watch them and how they play coming up this weekend. The first player I got on my list is Julian Fleming. Now, Fleming is a player that has been battled and been hampered and hindered by numerous injuries, some leg injuries, and just some things that you would think, man, a guy who was a top recruit, one of the top receivers in his class. I believe he was a top receiver in his class. A guy that's really talented, a guy that could do some crazy things at Ohio State. We haven't seen them just yet. So why in the world is Julian Fleming on this list and the first player that Jay says, hey, we got to watch him? Because just don't know what's going to happen. If he plays well, the Buckeyes win this game. So Julian Fleming recently in a scrimmage, I'm going to say this first and then go in a little bit more about why he is on this list. So Julian Fleming recently in a scrimmage at Ohio State during a practice, I think it was on a Saturday, his shoulder popped out of socket. Happens. I try to scare you, make gross you out. His shoulder popped out of socket. Now, the next part might gross you out because he popped that bad boy right back into place himself. Ain't no trainer coming around. Popped it back into place himself and went on to score two touchdowns in that scrimmage. Now, that shows me a few things. He's tough. He's resilient. Going to the trainer to get it done himself, which that's what I would do. Nah, he got this. He has this. But there's a grittiness that I find there. And there's a bit of, not just a grittiness, but the ability to have something happen that would knock some people down or knock them out and really not allow them to perform at their best. But what did he do? He popped back into place and went out there and played hard. Scored 2 tutties, not 1, but 2. You need that kind of guy on the field. And from everything that I have read, that I've seen, and I even heard CJ Stroud with his own mouth discuss Fleming at Big Ten Media Days, and he said, "Y'all just aren't ready, man. Y'all just gotta wait. Y'all just gotta wait and see." He could not unveil the things that we might see this year. But Fleming is big, man, because you got to think about the Buckeye receivers. You have one guy who started last year, should have probably won the Biletnikoff. I get Jordan Addison was cold. Like, I'm not saying Jordan Addison wasn't cold, but 96 receptions, 1,600 receiving yards, over 1,600 actually, 16 touchdowns. Like, stupid numbers, bro. Those are just stupid. He didn't win the Biletnikoff last year to be the best receiver in the country, but he did break some Rose Bowl records in his final game of the 2021 season. And so with all that in mind, you have Njigba, but you got some other guys that don't have the same amount of playing time. A little bit of experience, got the feet wet, but that's it, just a little bit. Marvin Harrison Jr. is new. Emeka Egbuka's new to getting consistent playing time being a starter. And then Julian Fleming's here, and it could be a time where the Buckeyes either start him or run for a wide and say, look, stop us. Stop us. You think you're so good? You think you're so big and bad? You think you have the proper defense for us? Stop us. It's that easy. And if Fleming is on his game this weekend, I do believe we can expect some big things. I'm not saying 5 touchdowns from Fleming. Some key first down, some key third down conversions, things of that nature, moving the change, keeping the offense on schedule. I firmly think Julian Fleming is that kind of guy we need to keep our eyes on. Another guy on offense is Cade Stover. Now, why a tight end? Well, we all know Ohio State's tight ends aren't really known for the pass catch ability. But as I think it was Bobby Carpenter or somebody else on the new podcast that Austin Ward and Jeremy Birmingham have with Rivals, the podcast, and there's different shows that they have there, the Daily Show, Snap Judgments. They have the live show, which is at Roosters. Don't know all the names for them, but they do a phenomenal job of breaking down the football. And I believe I have heard people discuss numerous times how Cade Stover has done phenomenal things this offseason, and you might be surprised with how he is in the passing game this year. Now imagine this weekend, Notre Dame is expecting an offense where the tight end is not an option or really a threat in the passing game. But the next thing you know, Cade Stover has four catches, 45 receiving yards and a touchdown. That's probably not what the Irish are expecting, but Stover can do it. After the spring game, I was expecting more Joe Royer to be the passing tight end and Stover to be more of the run blocking tight end. But with him being better at both facets of that position, just you wait. Just you wait. If he goes off and he does his thing and he opens up holes for the running back and he keeps CJ Stroud clean and he gets open and finds a hole in the zone and pops this down, catch, turns upfield, gets that yak yardage, big things coming for this team. Another one over to the defensive side of the ball now is Tommy Eichenberg. 17 touchdowns. Whoa. 17 tackles, not 17 touchdowns. 17 tackles in a game being the Rose Bowl would have been amazing. 17 tackles in the Rose Bowl. There was a game last year where Eichenberg had 0 tackles, and I remember talking to certain people and saying, "What's up with Ike?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's up with any of these linebackers. They just keep playing too many of them. I can't get a good feel about who is good and who is not. All reports are that Eichenberg is good. He is really good, and he has solidified himself as one of the top 2 linebackers at Ohio State. As being the middle linebacker and someone who is somewhat of the quarterback of the defense, you need a guy like Ike. We might start using some more nicknames. You got PJ for Paris Johnson Jr., got Ike for Tommy Eichenberg. Steele is just Still Chambers. I'm just going to start using some nicknames just so everybody knows the flavor of this show is nicknames, shorten things up so your boy can get more words in every single show. So Ike is one of those guys that I firmly think everybody needs to watch. He's leading the defense, quarterbacking the defense, helping everybody get set, and also doing a phenomenal job at his job. You want to slow down the rushing attack of the Irish? Ike has to do his job. I'm not saying he's going to make every tackle, but he has to do his job and lead this defense the way that it needs to be led. Last but not least, it's Josh Proctor. So yesterday I saw that Notre Dame released their depth chart. Something I wish Ohio State would do instead of, keep everything close to the vest. But I understand they don't want things to get out just yet or at all. But there's a matchup that I'm looking for Josh Proctor to have on this weekend. It's with Michael Mayer, number 87, the number 1 tight end for Notre Dame, 6'4.5", 265-pound junior. And I do think this matchup is going to be one of those things to watch. Josh Proctor getting back on the field after suffering an injury last year. He has Hickman by him, McAllister as well. But I do think we're going to get a lot of Josh Proctor, Michael Mayer, maybe McAllister and Michael Mayer coming up this weekend. And I am curious to see how well Proctor does with that matchup. We all know Josh Proctor, JP. I'm telling y'all, get used to these nicknames. I'm going to say their name once in the show, and it's going to be nicknames the rest of the way. JP is going to be one of those guys that's going to be solid. He's a hard hitter. We can trust him. But imagine what the NFL scouts will think if JP does his thing by doing a phenomenal job of covering Michael Mayer this coming weekend. We got Stover, we got Fleming, we got JP, we got Proctor, we got Ike, we got Tommy Eichenberg. These are guys that I am watching closely to see how they play this weekend and how the Buckeyes respond to their play. Football talk is over for the day. This wasn't really expected, but when John Rothstein tweets something about Justice suing John Rothstein of CBS Sports, it's big, huge news. And I wanted to close today's show out with a high note about Justice suing, because once you hear this news, you will definitely like it. Stick around. I got one more segment to go right here on Locked on Buckeyes. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more, and the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus also can set you up with a brand new top-of-the-line grill that will last for generations. We all know how hard it is with the supply chain issues this year in getting certain things shipped on time. So when it comes to ordering that one big gift for Christmas, check out Billiards Plus and get there early this year. Pick something out and get it shipped in time for Christmas. It is a gift the whole family will enjoy year-round. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Olhausen, Canada, Billiards, and more. Plus, top-of-the-line grills from PK Napoleon, Memphis, and Le Griddle that will be the last grill you own. Seriously, these grills stand the test of time. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Check them out at billiards-plus.com. Once again, check them out at billiards-plus.com. Billiards Plus, family owned and operated for generations. Think back to last season, the basketball season, and there were only 2 games a specific player played, a certain player, a special player, a starter played last year. There are rumblings about an injury that happened prior to the season starting. He played in a couple of games, but ultimately was shut down and did not return to the Ohio State basketball courts at all during the season. Well, via a recent tweet, this came out on Tuesday, shortly before we're recording this show, from John Rothstein of CBS Sports. I'm going to read it verbatim. Just read it, the quote, and you will like what you hear. Quote, Ohio State's Justice Suing has been fully cleared for all basketball-related activities per Chris Holtmann, end quote. He goes on to discuss and say Suing only appeared in 2 games last season after averaging 10.7 points per game and 5.5 rebounds per game during the 2020-2021 season. Seth Towns, another player who missed last year due to injury, is still not cleared. But that first part to me is big. Justice Suing being fully cleared on August 30th, knowing the season does not start until November, that gives him a lot of time to do one, get back on the court and just do whatever he needs to do to get his feet wet, get back on the court and get his conditioning back up to speed as close as it can be to actually being in game shape. But number 2, he can work with some guys he's never played ball with before at full strength. All the basketball-related activities are back on. Being fully clear right now is amazing. And Chris Holtmann, I know, he is going to lean on Justice Suing in a big way, in a huge way, because Justice Suing is one of those guys. He's a leader. He's been around a while, plays some Pac-12 basketball at Cal, been at Ohio State for a while. He has seen Ohio State get bounced in the first weekend of the tournament every year he's been there, and I truly don't think that is how he wants to end his Buckeye career this year. So him getting back right now on August 30th, for you to have September and October, both of those months full, to get back and just work with your new teammates, man, this is a great way to build chemistry. Because you all know, as I know as well from my own experience, when you are in a new place, maybe a new work environment, or maybe you're on a new team, a team at work, or maybe it might be just you coaching or a team you played on. Those first few practices, man, y'all just trying to figure out what each person is going to do. You are trying to figure out how in the world you're going to accomplish the goal your team wants to accomplish, which is ultimately going undefeated, winning the championship. Those are the goals you want. Now, if it's rec league, you still want to go undefeated. There might not be a tournament at the end of the season where you could lift up a trophy, but you still want to win. That's what you want to do. And if you think about how hard it is sometimes to build chemistry, because some guys, they're stuck in their own ways. Sometimes you don't want to do what the other person wants to do. It's really tough. And this just popped into my head. Not the 92 Dream Team. You think about that team, 11 of the 12 players are Hall of Famers. I don't think they're all first ballot Hall of Famers, but they're all Hall of Famers. The one player that is not was Christian Laettner, the college kid. I mean, think about this. If they put Shaq in there instead of Christian Laettner, you want to have all those guys be Hall of Famers. Now, Shaq was at LSU, and he was not the poster boy for college basketball like Christian Laettner was. One was at LSU, and Shaq, not the basketball program that Duke was or is. So it makes sense why Christian Laettner was there. But that dream team with Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and David Robinson and Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley, Clyde Drexler, all this talent, Scottie Pippen, all this talent collected on one team, it took them a while to get chemistry. It took them a while to gain the type of connection that they had once they started playing in the 92 Olympics. Why? Because it's not easy to blend a lot of people and make all the Eagles work and allow people to back away and not do all the things they're used to doing for the betterment of the team. It's not easy. It's not easy. As great as those basketball players were, it's hard to put that amount of talent together, or that talent in general together, and say, hey, go out there and win. Put you together, no practices, no scrimmage, no nothing, no pickup game, go out there and win. It's hard, man. It's really hard. And it took that team, the Dream Team, quite a bit of time to build chemistry. And then we saw what happened once that happened. That very thing can happen for Ohio State right now. Just like the Dream Team, it took them time to build chemistry and to figure out how everybody wants to play. It might take this Buckeye team some time with Justice Suing, who is now fully cleared to play for all basketball activities. You're also going to have suing to play with guys like Isaac Likely and some other transfers that are now coming in to the Buckeyes. They can build chemistry now, start building it now. Now, them getting on the court now is not going to be the same as it's going to be in a few months or 4 months during the season because you're building chemistry. There'll be some growing pains, some hiccups along the way. But at the end of the day, getting him back now, give a little bit of time to get acquainted with his new teammates. It's perfect, man. It's perfect. The Dream Team needed time to build chemistry. The Buckeyes will need time to build chemistry. Justice Suing will need time to build chemistry with his new teammates. I like that he's back, and I can't wait to see Justice Suing back on the basketball court. Thank you, everybody. It was a fun show today. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. Thank you for subscribing, liking, leaving comments on the YouTube for this particular show. YouTube. Locked On Buckeyes is available on YouTube for free. It's available everywhere for free on the Odyssey app, on the Apple Podcast app, on the Spotify app, wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube. Search Locked On Buckeyes. Hit that subscribe button, and you will get notified. You will get the podcast. Your show will automatically get downloaded. On the YouTube, hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video goes live. Guys, I'm out of here for this Tuesday. Got some big things coming for the rest of the week to get you ready for the big matchup Saturday night between the Irish and the Buckeyes. I am ready. I hope you're ready. Man, I love this stuff. I love this game, and I cannot wait for these two teams to battle it out in the shoe on Saturday night.